In order for you to have a clue now and throughout the course of the course what to expect and what progress you are currently in, I would like to give you an overview of the course flow. This course series consists of 7 courses that build on each other. And if you're wondering now why I don't summarize the content in a course, the answers are as easy as they are obvious. At nearly 500 lessons and about 100 hours, the content is simply too extensive for a single course. Please compare this scope with other courses here on Udemy, then you will realize the difference. The entire learning content of this course series fills 4 full-time weeks in classroom training and cannot be taught nearly as completely in practice as it is here. In addition, I am mainly working on projects, and am developing this online training in parallel to complement the face-to-face training that was common before Corona, and the remote training that is currently practiced. And that brings us to the single parts. The first 2 courses in this series lay the foundation for understanding the 4 courses that follow, which reflect the real working day. Admittedly, they are a bit dry, but without this basis for understanding, we simply have too much difficulty with the subsequent content. You'll see that I really stick to the basics here, and leave the tools, events and recommended actions to the 4 courses that follow. Each of these 4 practice-oriented courses depicts a hierarchy in the company, and the tasks that arise in it. The final course in the series then takes an equally practical look at the most common challenges and approaches to solving them. Let's start with the overview of the first course from this series of courses. We start in the first of the 7 courses with the basics, where you will learn about the most common project management methods that we encounter in software projects in large companies. These include the milestone trend analysis, the waterfall model, Agile project management, Kanban, Scrum, the Scaled Agile framework, also simply called SAFe, Lean management, and Six Sigma. In the second course, we look together at how requirements are created and learn about the tools that form the backbone of an Agile project. These include the value stream, the solution train, the release train, product increments and sprints, as well as the requirement objects, and the interaction of all tools. In the third course, I show you how the management develops the requirements together with internal and external sources, which roles work together in the process, and who has which tasks. We also talk about the Agile transformation and the portfolio epic. In the very comprehensive fourth course, you will see how the intermediate level in large companies breaks down the requirements from management to more detailed requirements. The business units coordinate with each other when defining solutions, cooperate with the management in the process, elementary project basics are defined, and a project is divided into programs in such a way that departments can contribute their solutions to an overall solution. We are also talking about budgets, ROI and realization periods, and how basic solutions, project and team infrastructure are provided for the underlying programs. And some more like the solution train increment, the capability, requirements determination, parallelization, time boxing, the core team, the large solution roles, system architecture, strategic goals, target processes, interfaces, basic decisions, the special case waterfall, the basic system, the rough, fine and an IT concept, the operator concept, the program definitions, teams, controlling, milestones, control instruments, the test definition, the review definition, and the documentation. In addition, we also learn about the roles involved and their tasks at this level. Without this intermediate level, a large Agile project would sink into chaos, and unfortunately, this is not at all uncommon for precisely this reason. And that's why I'm putting a lot of effort into this content, and going into quite a bit of detail and practical experience. In the 5th course, specialist requirements from the departments are added from the already defined requirements of the superordinate large solution level, as well as new subject-specific requirements are added for a solution, and for all requirements features are described, which a solution should contain. A very big topic will be requirements determination with the business units, as well as readiness criteria and, of course, again the roles involved at this level and their tasks. In addition, we talk about the program epic, the feature object, the user story, non-functional requirements, the concept sprint, the breakout session, and change management. In the 6th course, which is again very extensive, it's down to the nitty-gritty. Here the requirements are broken down into tasks, and converted into solutions, which are then assembled into an overall solution on the way back up. Big topics are team organization, available tools and events, and the roles involved in their tasks. We talk about the team training, team building, basic rules, the pull concept, the duo-triplet concept, basic ceremonies, the task object, the test case object, parallelization in the team, time boxing in the team, breakout sessions in a team, concept sprint in the team, ready to sprint, the story estimation, the story sizing, prioritization, the sprint backlog, the capacity planning, the sprint planning, the sprint, the product increment, the PI planning, the testing, the sprint review, the retrospective, about team strategy, the bug or defect object, about team roles, the impediment backlog, the burn down chart, and the phasing in. The 7th and last course in the series is about collaboration between the levels previously covered, and typical challenges with approaches to solutions from my practical experience, that have worked quite well. We talk about software solutions, alignment, possible Kanban strategies, the team composition, the weekly, also about contradictions to the Agile manifesto in everyday project work, Agile islands, visions, strategy as opposed to openness, the career planning factor, the power factor middle management, about the gray eminence, intrigue, stoppers, blockers, delegating as opposed to adding value, about entrenched patterns of thinking and working, the outsourcing of roles, professional change management, dealing with refuseniks, about role agreements, the scope of work, or SOW for short, and the Agile fixed price. At the very end, I give a project manager or Scrum Master tips on what he should pay attention to when taking over a project, and with which steps he should optimally start a new project. So you see, in this series of courses we are less concerned with theory, the what, but much more with the real day-to-day process of a software development project in a large company, highlighting which methods and strategies can help us where, for example, in addition to the what, also highlighting the how. So that you don't have to jump into the cold practical water after the last course, this series of courses accompanies you after the teaching of basic knowledge with a continuous practical example. The goal of the course series is to enable you to evaluate situations in the course of the project, and to initiate solutions using suggestions from the course content. Please forgive me that we use a lot of English expressions in the course, Because English in the field of software programming everyone understands, the code including the code documentation is written in English as far as possible. The teams in Germany today are such international, that communication is predominantly in English, and for some expressions, there is simply no German translation, at least none that would be understandable right away. Nevertheless, I will try to avoid Anglicisms wherever possible, to make the course understandable for beginners. For this reason, I will briefly explain the most important technical terms in some lessons before the actual content. I would also like to ask you to point out errors, whether they are spelling errors, or whether you think they are errors in content. Because one thing is hopefully clear to all of us: nobody is perfect. I want to provide the users of this course series with an as good training foundation as possible, in the best Agile sense, of course. And as a team, we are simply stronger here too. You can place your hint in the questions and answers section, which you will find in each lesson. Ideally, a content note is the basis for a constructive discussion and exchange of experiences. When I myself learn something new, I recognize the great challenge of linking the training content with existing project experience already during the training, and thus, anchoring new approaches better in my memory, being able to retrieve them when needed, consider them and, if necessary, also practice them. Exactly when the training content is just a solution option. It's a very draining process, that at least, I can't keep up for more than 4 hours a day. This certainly depends on the type of learner, the age, and the level of comprehension. With my 50 years, I'm a bit older, and to memorize has never been my thing. And this brings us to the next point. Which learning types do I address with this course series? In general, I would like to reach everyone. The course form of online learning naturally appeals primarily to visual, auditory and media-oriented learning types. For example, people who can learn well with text and image materials as well as linguistic knowledge transfer, who like to control the time sequence themselves, and also want to determine the location themselves. In this course, I deliberately refrained from an additional video transmission from me, so as not to distract you unnecessarily from the existing information channels. After teaching the basics, I try to support the sense-seeking type of learner in a very targeted way, using examples from everyday project work. The haptic type of learner tends to learn more within the project work and learning by doing, as does the intellectual, communicative or person-oriented type of learner, who needs intensive content-related and personal interaction in the form of discussions and follow-up questions, in order to learn. Therefore, I hope to support the intellectual type of learner by providing the opportunity for discussion and request in the question and answer section. Otherwise, of course, my offer remains for project support on-site at the company or more flexibly and cost-efficiently via remote connection. On-site means in my case, Europe-wide staggered according to travel time. I can support the project languages German and English. The support in the company includes face-to-face trainings adapted to individual needs, the same as remote training, or project accompanying coaching, also on-site or remote, coaching and support during project setup, also on-site or remote, or management consulting for the introduction or optimization of Agile working methods, also on-site or remote. You are welcome to consider this course series as a basis for a possible further collaboration, or as a basic training for yourself and colleagues. Also, with this in mind, I have priced this comparatively comprehensive course much lower than you might know from many other offers. With a daily rate of €2,800, 20 days of face-to-face training and a 10-person team, your employer will pay €5,600 per participant for the content of this course series. A bit of a difference from my pricing, isn't it? On the other hand, I also reach a much larger number of participants, and that with a one-time, albeit very high creation effort. In addition, imparting basic knowledge via an online course saves me a lot of time in the project, which also gives the project staff more flexibility. And another thing, large companies often need customized training content. I am happy to create customized content based on this course, and branding according to client specifications on a time and material basis. By the way, I am building this online course in parallel with my project work. Please forgive me if I can only make the courses in the series available gradually, depending on available capacity. In the wake of Corona, training has already shifted from classroom to remote training, and from classroom to remote coaching anyway. This online course is an additional tool for imparting basic knowledge in project teams even more efficiently, flexibly and, despite the same scope, priced much lower. Oh, what am I saying? A well-structured online training is just complete, in contrast to face-to-face or remote training. In face-to-face and remote training, something always falls by the wayside here and there, because participants influence the course of events. The training structure is no longer flexible in online training. And that is the disadvantage of this teaching method. But the content is oriented to a comprehension-optimized thread, which simplifies the absorption of the learning content, and avoids the constant interposed questions that repeatedly distract the group from the course in face-to-face and remote training, and also repeatedly exceed the estimated time frame. To make up for the disadvantage of lack of interaction, my online courses have quizzes and, of course, the communication capabilities of the platform in every lesson. Instead of working with the current project in face-to-face trainings, I provide you with a continuous practical example with practical exercises in my course series from the 2nd to the 6th course, in which you can practically apply the learning content as preparation for everyday challenges. But that should be it for the overview of this course series. We continue with an introduction to the course topic.